Air commute is considered as perhaps the safest way to travel, yet it has taken the lives of many pioneers like Otto Lilienthal and John Alcock. Yet there is one mysterious death that has been haunting us for more than 85 years now. This is the story of a daring female pilot whose remains were never found. This is the story of Amelia Earhart. July 24, 1897, Amelia was born in Kansas. Whenever she gazed into the vast open sky, she dreamt of exploring the blue expanse unconstrained by the limits of the ground. She first experienced flight at an aerial fair in 1920. The sensation of the propellers thrumming beneath her, the ground falling away, it's everything she dreamt of and more. From that moment on, she's determined to conquer the skies. With relentless dedication, Amelia conquered obstacle after obstacle. She worked odd jobs to fund flying lessons. She endured mocking laughter from those who deemed flying an unfitting pursuit for a woman. Her resolve, however, remained unwavering. Amelia couldn't control her joy as she received her aviation license. She was among the only 16 women in the world having a license to fly. Yes, it was a significant milestone, but merely a stepping stone in her extraordinary journey. 1932, Amelia dares to embark on a solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean. For 15 grueling hours, she fights against fierce winds and icy weather, until finally she lands in Ireland successfully. This was the first time a woman alone had conquered the formidable Atlantic. She instantly became a symbol of courage and pride, setting examples for fellow women to follow. Amelia was unlike the women of her time. She would wear trousers, which were not so trendy for women of that time, and would pursue flying adventures whenever she wanted. 1935, Amelia is a celebrity now, but nothing would add more to her fame than her mysterious death, which remained an unsolved mystery even in modern times. It's July of 1937. Amelia embarks on another ambitious project. This time, not any ocean, but the whole world. She fastens the belt of her Lockheed Electra and tries to circumnavigate the world. As she was soaring the skies, a man named Fred Noonan would join her for 40 days. Fred was an American flight navigator. Together, Fred and Noonan covered more than 20,000 miles, another remarkable record. Before we move further in the story, it is important to establish that Pacific Ocean is a vast, incomprehensible expanse of water that engulfs more than 30% of our globe's surface. It's so wide that if you tried, you could squeeze 5 moons side by side across it. There are spots in this monstrous ocean so isolated that you dared venture there. The closest humans to you would be likely the astronauts in the International Space Station. This all paints a picture of unbelievable task that awaited Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan on 2nd July 1937. They embarked on an audacious journey from Papua New Guinea, plunging into the largest void on Earth. Their target, Howland Island, an unassuming speck of land barely a mile and a half in length, located a staggering 2,500 miles away. This was their pit stop, where they planned to refuel before pressing on toward Hawaii and then California for their triumphant return. Keep in mind, this was an era devoid of modern navigation aids like GPS. Many of the tools we take for granted in today's aircraft were but a dream in their time. But what happened next would write off Amelia's name in the books of history. According to their plan, they were supposed to land on the Howland Island, but they never did. Yes, despite their tireless efforts and meticulous planning, The island, their small refuge in the heart of the vast Pacific, eluded them. An insidious mix of overcast skies, radio difficulties, and dwindling fuel reserves led to their disorientation. The world waited for their triumphant arrival on Howland Island, but the landing that everyone eagerly anticipated did not happen. Their status? MIA. But where did they go? Into the ocean or executed by inhabitants of an uninhabited island? Yes, there are many theories, so let's look into the three most widely acknowledged ones. The baffling case of Amelia Earhart's disappearance seems simple enough at first glance. Her plane, the Electra, runs out of fuel in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean near Howland Island, and the aircraft along with its occupants vanish beneath the waves. But the real story might not be so straightforward. The Electra was a marvel designed for extremely long-distance flights, its interior crammed with reserve fuel. Both Amelia and Fred Noonan, watching their fuel levels plummet, had to make a fateful decision. Continue searching for Howland Island knowing failure meant certain doom, or attempt their luck elsewhere. In the days after radio contact was lost with the Electra, reports of distress signals from the plane began to filter in form of radio stations across the Pacific and amateur radio hobbyists. This could only have been possible had the plane landed safely on an island, leading many to theorize that the Electra didn't plunge into the ocean near Howland Island. Many theories have emerged over the years. The first suggests that Amelia and Fred turned northwest, crash landing in the Japanese-occupied Marshall Islands. Some locals claim to have witnessed a plane crash, and others even suggested that they had seen Earhart in a prison camp. This theory got a boost when a photograph surfaced and seemed to show Earhart, Noonan, and potentially the Electra in the Marshall Islands. But the photo was later found to have been taken 2 years before they vanished, making this theory less plausible. The second theory proposes that the Electra flew south to Gardner Island, now known as Nikumaroro, and landed safely, though Noonan was badly injured. Amelia and possibly Noonan then might have survived on the island as castaways, before succumbing to the harsh elements, limited food and water supply, or even the local population of giant coconut crabs. This theory was considered plausible at the time, as the last known coordinates sent by the Electra would have taken them right by Gardner Island. Also, several intriguing clues like human remains found on the island, an aluminum panel similar to those on Electra, and the heels of a woman's shoe resembling Amelia's were found, but nothing conclusive. Finally, the simplest and the most likely theory, known as the crash and sink theory, suggests that Earhart and Noonan, unable to locate Howland Island, crashed into the Pacific Ocean and sank into its depths. Again, considering the radio signals, we are forced to say that no conclusive evidence supports this theory either. It doesn't require any imaginative leaps or suspension of logic. The relentless search by the US Navy and Coast Guard, perhaps one of the most extensive in history, revealed a glaring void as well. Despite numerous searches and decades passing by, the mystery surrounding Amelia Earhart's disappearance remains unsolved. Somewhere out there, perhaps in the deep waters, or in a hidden realm near Howland Island, lies the Electra, waiting to reveal its secrets. And while we continue to seek answers, the vanishing of Amelia Earhart remains one of the greatest enigmas of recent history. 18 months after her disappearance, a court order declared Earhart legally dead in January 1939. And even with a lot of contradicting evidence, the most widely accepted theory is the one claiming that she sank down the depth of the ocean. If you were to search for Amelia Earhart disappearance on Google, the results would total approximately 239,000 entries. Countless websites abound with peculiar conspiracy theories. For instance, one website, militarycorruption.com, alleges that US Secretary of Navy James Forrestal participated in concealing the destruction of Earhart's Lockheed Electra 10E at a Sligo field on Saipan in 1944. The website doesn't explicitly state Forrestal's motives for such an act, but it insinuates that he was trying to raise any traces that could have tied Earhart to a clandestine espionage mission on behalf of the US government. Amelia Earhart's husband, George Palmer Putnam, sanctioned a script for a movie named Stand By to Die, slated to be produced by RKO. The film bore some similarities to Earhart's life and disappearance, and for this, the Amelia Earhart estate was to receive $7,500. Putnam had hoped to see this concept for a film about his wife titled Lady with Wings, the story of my wife, Amelia Earhart, come to life, but there were no interested parties, and the Earhart estate was financially strapped. Putnam reluctantly agreed to the contract on the condition that there would be no overt parallels between the movie and Earhart's life. Eventually, RKO produced the film, but it was retitled Flight for Freedom. The film featured Rosalind Russell as Tony Carter, a woman pilot whose dream was to circumnavigate the globe, and Fred McMurray as Randy Britton, a daring pilot who joined Tony on the flight in the role of a navigator. Subscribe to Adventure Uncovered for more blues from the world of adventure. We have made another interesting video on the cursed Porsche that led James Dean to the end of his life. Click on the video link popping up to watch now, and we will catch you there in a minute.